And I have to say that the most interesting thing of all that was almost kind of scary to me in a way was
the best charting Korean girl group of all time, K-pop sensations Blackpink.
okay, let's do this. I'm personally loving this little desk setup that is my coffee table. I feel like I enjoy having a desk. Hello everybody, and I hope you're having I can climb onto this wonderful day. Before jumping in, I just want to say that you subscribers out there and commenters are awesome. I've had people just say wonderful things. I've had great conversations with people. Some people have been saying negative things, and other people are commenting and defending me. That is insane to me, because it just shows that there is a lot of good out there in the world, even though there might be some annoying little bad things, that there's going to be so much good that it's going to completely shadow the bad. I watched the Blackpink documentary on Netflix this weekend, and I just needed to make a video about it because I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm going to tell you why, because there are a lot of reasons. Initially, the documentary I thought was going to be more on their world tour, which it did cover, but it really was about the journey of the girls and how they got to be where they are now, going into each of their stories individually too, which I felt were pretty inspiring. And on top of that, it really showed the the curtain pulled back on what the music industry is all about, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious about that. And we even got to learn that there's one producer who has made a ton of their songs. I think he said he made all of them, actually. Man, I want to know more about him. Let's talk to him more. And for anyone who doesn't know what K-pop is, it's really just Korean pop music. It's evolved into its own genre to me, and this is my own personal definition. It's evolved into its own genre because it does have this unique, just uppity, techno flared, I can't even describe it, but I enjoy listening to it, so I of course wanted to watch this documentary.
It's just a beginning.
And Blackpink is a specific girl group within K-pop, the genre, that is just doing really well and is great at performing. I personally remember seeing their first TV showcase on Good Morning America, and I was like, wow, no offense to any bands or groups in America, but they were so good live. Their dancing and their just chemistry together was just superb. And this documentary kind of showed why that is. So the first point about the documentary that I thought was really interesting was the training aspect of things. So I had heard this before from somebody where they said that, the K-pop people, they train for a really long time in this school kind of situation, and then they are picked on whether or not to be the famous ones or the ones that get to showcase, for the world, their music and their dancing. And this documentary pretty much went into that world, and that these girls, all four of them, had left their day-to-day lives, I guess you could say, to enter this school. Some of them when they were younger, some when they were, more after high school and college time. And it showed that the school kind of brings them all together. They do, 7-day-a-week trainings, or I think it was 2-week trainings and then 1 day off kind of deal. And they would just sing, dance, constantly. And honestly, I'm still not quite sure who paid for it, whether it was they were in debt to the record label, or if they were paying for it themselves, but I would be curious to learn more about that, actually. And comment below if you already saw this and had any questions as well, because I feel like if we all did research, we could eventually get to the bottom of things. So eventually these group of girls are picked, and guys are picked to be with each other. And I think these girls were talking about how they already kind of liked each other and knew each other in the school, so the four of them were like, oh, we're going to be paired together no matter what. And then when they're good enough, after training for 4 to 5 years each, then you're able to, do this showcase where you showcase for the record label or a record label, and then you get picked on whether or not you're moved on to the next round of being showcased to the world. And they were obviously picked to showcase after they performed for this record label. But the really big part of it that I enjoyed seeing the most was the behind the scenes of the music industry, and that these girls were like, wow, we've been traveling. Some of them left their families at 16 to go train here for 5 years, where they knew they weren't going to get a lot of time off to go see their families, and that was a big emotional push for them in the show because they were saying like, wow, I left my family like 5 or 6 years ago, and yes, I've been following my dreams, but I also miss them a ton. So it was really down to earth in that sense, because can you imagine if one day like you're 12 and your older sister or brother is like 15 or 16, and then your parents are like, so so-and-so is leaving and we probably aren't going to see them a lot for the next 6 or 7 years, but they're going to go be a performer and they're going to be following their dreams. Like, it would be crazy for our family dynamic. And I have to say that the most interesting thing of all that was almost kind of scary to me in a way was how like perfect these girls had to be, or these guys in the groups had to be, in order to become the promoted ones. It made so much sense to me why on that Good Morning America show they did not miss a beat, they did not miss a step, they did not miss a word, and I'm sure they do make mistakes and they're not perfect, but the whole aspect of them being really great at performing made a lot of sense to me because they spend so much time training. I mean, for America, some of those people are grabbed from the X Factor and American Idol, and then we make them famous and make them go through kind of the training and everything like that. Whereas K-pop, they prepare you ahead of time, they pick you after you've been perfectly primed for performing PPP, and then you're able to get the fame and the fortune, or, you know, I don't even know if they're really getting a lot of money. Also, the one thing that I learned was that some of them are not from Korea, or like weren't born and raised. For instance, like the one girl in Girls' Generation, Girls' Generation is another K-pop group, but the one girl in Blackpink, for example, came from Australia and then went to Korea to join this training school. So that to me was pretty interesting too, that they all kind of come from different parts of the world, and that's what they were kind of saying was the great part about the group, is that they all kind of offer something a little bit different. I also learned that one of the big merchandise items for Blackpink is this like a hammer that has two squishy things on the side, and it's a heart. I don't know, I just like those. Overall, I definitely recommend watching it. I think it's a great night-in kind of movie because it's really interesting. I would say that you should definitely listen to Blackpink's music, at least try it out, because you might find that you love K-pop. You never know. And then I also recommend you check out my other videos if you enjoyed me talking about this one. And other than that, I hope you all have an amazing day. Like this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed the content in general, and be sure to check out some other stuff too. Oh my gosh, I almost completely forgot. There is this one part in the film that really just, I loved it. One thing that the interior decor side of me really enjoyed that most other people probably don't appreciate is that during their diary sessions, all of them got to sit on this like unique kind of style couch. Like they were all related, but they were all different, and I wanted all of them in a future home of mine. That's the part that gave me a lot of joy that I think went unnoticed by a lot of people.